The New York Rangers are looking to shake things up, which has the NHL insiders suggesting very big names are available. I put on my conspiracy theory hat and give my thoughts on the Jim Montgomery's new job in St. Louis. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. The New York Rangers are currently 12-7-1 and sit fourth in the Metro. Honestly, if that was the Bruins record right now, I think we'd all be happy. They just lost, though, 5-2 at home to the St. Louis Blues. The Rangers, in their last 10 games, are 5-5-0 and are playing some bad hockey right now. They have more than one top forward struggling right now, and according to NHL insiders, their GM, Chris Drury, has made it known he is open for business. Zibanejad has 4 goals in 20 games, and he is a -13 on the season. Zibanejad had 26 goals last season with 72 points. Chris Kreider, on the other hand, has 9 goals and 0 assists in 19 games, but does have 4 game-winning goals, so he is being impactful. The list of struggling stars on the Rangers is long. I know this is a Bruins channel, but one of those names available has been linked to the Bruins for years, as he's a Massachusetts boy, and that is Chris Kreider. I wanted to start off, before I do a deep dive, that no one is reporting that Kreider is being traded to the Boston Bruins. The Hockey News report only states the Bruins should inquire about him, and all the other reports only suggest that he's available. If someone is saying right now that the Bruins are in on him, they're lying. I'm going to dive into why he's available, should the Bruins at least pick up the phone, and what it might cost. So how'd this all start? Besides the fact that Rangers fans right now are calling their team a fraud, regardless of their record, because of how bad they've been playing lately. The other night, the Rangers lost 6-2 to the Edmonton Oilers, and Elliot Friedman did a post on social media that said, "In the aftermath of the 6-2 loss to Edmonton on Saturday, the Rangers have made it very clear they are interested in making moves and shaking up the roster. Among the names indicated are Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba, although other options will be considered." As you can understand, that got every fan around the NHL rattled, and trade proposals became all you could see on social media. Trouba's name has been out there for some time, and it was rumored there was a trade in place this offseason, but because of his modified no-trade clause, he elected to exercise his right and decline the trade out of New York. Trouba cited family reasons for his decision. As you can expect, the Rangers fan base handled it respectfully. I hope you could sense my sarcasm, because there are some of the Rangers fan base that certainly did not. Some fans went to social media and started to harass Trouba's wife, himself, and his family. I think what this section of the fan base did was gutless, and many current and former players came to Trouba's defense. Fans getting mad at a player exercising something that is in their contract because they don't like the way his play is honestly kind of laughable. If you want to get mad at someone, get mad at management for signing the deal. Stop always blaming the players for something management has done. So needless to say that Trouba trade rumors have ramped up again, but even though I like the way Trouba plays, he has lost a step, and $8 million per year price tag until 25-26 would be a non-starter for me, and I hope it is for the Bruins. That and the fact that the Bruins need scoring and not another defenseman. Now, Chris Kreider, being from Mass, has had him in the Bruins fan base's sights for years. That and the fact that he plays the game hard and can score goals. It's almost like he was meant to play for the Bruins. Many years back, the Rangers were struggling and looked to be trading Kreider, and Bruins fans were willing to give up the farm to get him. But it was rumored at the time that Kreider didn't want to leave New York. The Rangers ended up turning around their season, and they gave Kreider at the time an extension. So all the trade talk died down, and Kreider was never traded. Kreider is 33, and he's making $6.5 million per season until 26-27, and has a 15-team no-trade list. So right off the bat, fans should understand that he could very well have the Boston Bruins on that list. I doubt he does, but he could. A lot of players wouldn't relish playing in front of their hometown crowd because it adds a heightened sense of pressure that some players just can't stomach. Kreider has spent his career playing in front of a crowd at MSG, so I would expect he is used to the pressure. Kreider in 21-22 scored 52 goals, and last season scored 39, so we know he can score goals, and it's not like he's on the decline. He is 33, and the way he plays the game is hard on a player's body, but he doesn't get injured too often, so there isn't anything lingering with him to cause the production to dip this season. He is, though, currently listed as day-to-day with the Rangers. The Rangers, for me, are in the same stratosphere as the Bruins when it comes to underperforming, and by that, I mean it's kind of unexplainable and most likely mental. One thing that does stand out to me this year is Kreider's average ice time is down from the previous season. He is only averaging just over 17 minutes a night when he usually gets around 18 and a half a night. It may not look like a big number, but that's a pretty big number. What would a player like Kreider cost? The Rangers are looking to shake things up, but not blow things up. So, cross off picks and prospects if they move Kreider. Talked about it in previous videos, the laundry list of players the Bruins have no move clauses and limited trade clauses, but I'm sure many would waive him to play on the Rangers. The Rangers are probably one of the few teams around the league that is not on any player's no trade list. I'm only guessing this based on the number of times players request a trade to the Rangers. I will never understand it though, because it's not like they ever win anything and don't have a history of success. I get that New York is enticing, but for me, I would think players would want to win, not just be average. Acquiring a player like Kreider would not be cheap, and it's going to cost the Bruins. And I think the fan base would be divided on that cost. I've already seen the Geeky Brazo Beecher suggestion. I do find it funny when players like this become available that the fan bases are always tossing out there are the players that they deem not worthy to play on their team, but think other teams will take them. No offense to the players I mentioned, it's just the names I've seen out there. I personally really like Beecher's game and would be sad to see him go. And I'm not suggesting he is. I just don't understand why anytime there's a trade rumor, he's the first name that pops up. My rule is you make any trade that makes your team better, regardless of what you're giving up. The Rangers still have Stanley Cup aspirations, so they'd want pieces they could use in return this season. My thought would be they would start off with Charlie Coyle or Brandon Carlo, and probably they would want someone like Fabian Lysell. The Rangers are not having a fire sale here and would want guys back in return. So essentially, the Bruins would be solving one problem by creating another down the middle or on the back end. I would even think that the Rangers would need to add another piece to the deal if you, say, put in Carlo and Coyle as part of a package for Kreider. I'm not suggesting Coyle and Carlo, but if the Rangers would throw in like Lindgren, then maybe Coyle and Carlo are a package that you can get this deal done. You'd still need to throw in guys like Geeky or Brazo or like Fabian Lysell or something else to sweeten that pot. Needless to say, it would cost the Bruins a lot to get a player that they kind of need right now. The Bruins, though, need to ask themselves, would Kreider be the difference? And is this Bruins team with Kreider in the lineup good enough to win a cup? I don't have those answers to either of these questions, but right now, because the Bruins have struggled more than the Rangers, you need to ask those questions. We'll see where this one goes, and if the Bruins somehow pull this off, I would be excited to see Kreider in the lineup. I want to hear from you, though, and what your thoughts on the rumors surrounding the New York Rangers, and if the Bruins could pull off a deal. I wanted to touch on Montgomery going to the Blues, because it seems him being their head coach was possibility even as far as last year. Doug Armstrong, the Blues GM, said that he wanted to hire Montgomery last season and was going to do what he needed to get him if he became available. It's no secret that Montgomery's job was on the line last year, and in the first round against the Leafs, if the Bruins lost, he most likely would have been fired. Armstrong said that if that had happened, he would have hired Montgomery then. It also seems like Montgomery wanted to be their head coach and truly respects Armstrong as a GM. When he mentioned before, one of the reasons he fired Montgomery is because they couldn't come to an agreement on a contract extension. The rumor is the Bruins offered a 3-year deal, but Montgomery wanted a 5-year deal. He got that in St. Louis. Montgomery even seemed a bit emotional when talking to reporters in New York yesterday ahead of their matchup against the Rangers.
I just want to start off by, how excited I am. My family is to be back in St. Louis. But for me, this decision was about people. I've always believed you align yourself with good people and people that you believe in. And for me, with Tom Stillman and the ownership group, it starts right there. Appreciate their confidence and their vision. And then Doug Armstrong is someone that obviously was really important to my second chance. And then also, I think he's elite at what he does. His vision, his plan for how the Blues are going to become an elite and consistently an elite team again is something that I want to align myself with. And then, the people under him, from the business hockey operations side of things, the Scott Mellenbys, Alex Steen, who's an incredibly bright mind that I love talking hockey with, Al McInnes, and there's Hall of Famers in and around everywhere. And then I talked about the staff. Like, I've worked with the staff before, like the majority of it, and I know how invested they are. And it's great to come to the rink with people that are trying to push the players to be the best version they can be. And that's the last thing, is the people in this room. I've worked with over half this lineup already, and I know how committed they are to playing the right way and the type of people they are. So for me, this was a no-brainer to be able to come back home and be a Blue again.
My conspiracy around the whole thing is that Bruins management made it difficult for him to do his job this year, which caused him to make drastic lineup changes and always feel like he was on his heels. He knows that he almost got fired last season, and he knew going into this year they wanted to sign him, but weren't willing to give him what he wants. I also think he knew he had an opportunity to go St. Louis all along and would be okay if the Bruins fired him. You know that the players can sense that in the room. He considers St. Louis a home, and this is where he started his NHL career. I'm not here to bash Montgomery as a coach because I think he did the best job he could with what he had. But in the end, I think his relationship with the Bruins front office soured, and it was the best for both to part ways. I'm sure he was bummed to be fired by Boston and loved his time here. I don't think for a second he was phoning it in, but I'm sure that the mental aspect of everything going around him in Boston didn't help, and the players noticed. It was a perfect storm this year in Boston, and I'm happy for Montgomery and wish him nothing but the best. When the Bruins play him next, though, I hope he loses. I want to hear from you, though, now. Now that we've heard so much after the firing of Montgomery, I I want to hear your thoughts about his firing. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.